You can drop them now. I do want to take a minute here to answer a question from a wrestling historian. He wants to know, did you prefer Canyon or Mortis? Thanks in advance. With the benefit of hindsight, you got to see both versions. You know, the Mortis character, the dark, brooding character who doesn't speak, and an oddity with a martial arts background, just a pit fighter. And then there's Canyon, the trash talker from New Jersey. What do you think? Do you have a preference, Eric?
Kanyon.
Yeah.
Kanyon. I mean, the other character served a purpose, or at least we attempted to serve a purpose. So I loved it, and it was an excellent character. It checked every single box we could have hoped to check, except for the part where people really got with it. But the Canyon character I liked because there was more creative flexibility in it. You could do more with a talking character. You could do more with someone who you could identify with and relate to, good or bad. So I like the Canyon character better.
We know that the real life Chris Kanyon is going to get one of the bigger opportunities of his life when he becomes a key figure in the Ready to Rumble movie. I mean, he's really going to be a big part behind the scenes of creating some of these wrestling scenes and bringing them to life and working with the celebrities. And it's interesting because normally that sort of thing went to an LA based wrestler, someone like Chavo Guerrero Jr. in modern times. But back then, you know, because of the WCW affiliation, you got a kid from New Jersey flying from Atlanta here to California to work on this movie. You know, with the benefit of hindsight, you know, do you think Canyon thought this was the time of his life at the time? Did you realize what a big opportunity this was for Canyon? Because it does feel like something he took a lot of pride in after the fact.
He should have, because it was a big opportunity, and he appreciated it. I was going through a little bit of shit at that time. I was the one that got that movie made necessarily. I was involved at the very beginning with Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, who is the Warner Brothers executive that made sure that movie got made and distributed. And I had a lot to do with that, the heavy lifting of that in the very beginning. Then I was let go. But by the time I was let go in September '99, that movie was in process. Fortunately, we had kind of laid the groundwork for Chris and who's going to train who before I left, and it continued. So I didn't have the same relationship to the project, obviously. I was supposed to play myself in that movie. That's the part that pisses me off. It would have been really
Oh,
fun to
yeah.
do that. Yeah,
So you would have been you instead of Joey Pants playing the
yeah,
Eric Bischoff character?
yeah.
Wow.
They had to cast Joey Pants because I was no longer part of Turner, no
Wow.
longer part of WCW. But the idea of using Chris, because we're using our wrestlers, it just made so much sense. And Chris had already established he was so good at it. I mean, we worked with Jay Leno, and there was no better choice. Now, looking back at that now in terms of, wow, what an opportunity. And I almost feel sad even doing this because obviously Chris is no longer with us. But we've seen the success that Chavo Guerrero has had, working for The Rock behind the scenes. He's done a lot of stuff in terms of stunt work and choreography. He's probably the biggest name in that space in Hollywood in professional wrestling, and he's earned it. He's worked hard and done well. Chris would have had a similar opportunity at that time. And that would have opened up so much for Chris outside of wrestling. He could be still doing that today if he was still with us. And I think Chris knew the scope of the opportunity in some ways better than I did because I disconnected from it. But looking back at it, it was a massive opportunity for Chris.
Hey, I do want to ask, when you have to take a look back at unfortunately, a story like Canyons that came to a sad end, I can't help but wonder, he did so well with Ready to Rumble, and all we've ever heard from those he worked with, even on the Hollywood side of things, not just the wrestling side, was how great he was. Like in an alternate universe, don't you think Canyon could have had a successful career in Hollywood as like a stuntman or a coordinator or
No, that's
something
what
like
that's
that?
what I just mean. I mean, he could Chris because number one, he was really likable and he was very relatable. Like you meet Chris, anybody could meet Chris, and you'll be comfortable with him almost instantly. He just had that gift. Some people do. Most people don't. He did. And he was incredibly talented on top of it and humble. You take those qualities. If you've got exceptional talent that Hollywood needs, and you're a really easygoing guy that people just immediately take a liking to, and you're really good at it, you could be gold. And I think Chris would have been. I think Chris would have had an entirely different career post WCW because of WCW if he was still with us.
Hey, let's talk about what's next here for Kanyon. We're going to see him become part of the Jersey Triad. I know what you're thinking to yourself. Isn't Kanyon from New York? Yes, he is. But hey, we're not going to let one state line get in the way of what is going to be a really great trio from left to right. If you're watching with us on YouTube, it's Bam Bam Bigelow, the Beast from the East, Diamond Dallas Page, the master of the Diamond Cutter, and who better than Kanyon to round out this trio? Consistently one of the high points of WCW in 1999. There's a lot of stuff in WCW 99 that, well, maybe it didn't age that well, but this group really worked. Why do you think this group clicked so well, Eric?
Chemistry. Talked about it before. Sometimes you put three people together. It's like Hall, Nash, and Hogan. It was a little different because it was, Hogan was so different than Hall and Nash and had to, kind of become one with them. And he did a great job with that. But, the NWO, Hall, Nash, and Hogan was heavily influenced. The characterization of it, heavily influenced, probably, I'll say 60-40, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, right? They brought the vibe and the attitude. And that chemistry worked. The Jersey Triad, that chemistry was already there. It didn't have to evolve. These guys essentially grew up in the same area. One's Jersey and the other's New York. Okay, you could throw a Frisbee from one to the other. Big damn deal. Same thing. In terms of the way you grew up and the way culture influenced you and things you liked and related to. So the chemistry was baked in with these three. Just because they're all from the same area at the same time. Also, they just liked each other. There was a real bond between DDP and Kanyon. They were very close friends and worked a lot together on some of the initiatives like the one I described with Kids in a Bus. It turned out to be Power Rangers. What the fuck was that, Dave? I mean, yeah, mighty. But the chemistry was already there with those three, and they all had the same accent.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment, and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next two house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105. Or get yourself a quick quote, even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com.